Welcome to Season 3 of Pod Practice with Team USA player Quinn Feiner, Team USA Grandmaster player Mikey Lunn, and myself, Alex Atkins. You can now find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and anywhere you listen to your podcasts. We want to keep growing the Pod Practice community, so reach out to us with your thoughts on IG and YouTube at podpractice_pod, or email us at show@podpracticepod.com. I hope you enjoyed the episode.
Okay, first, Grant didn't admit he liked Frisbee for the first 5 years of our relationship.
Okay, 5 months, and this is 2015.
No,
Grant,
Classic. It's classic
Grant,
elite Frisbee player, though. It's classic elite Frisbee player. I don't care. It's not.
Also, let's just allow people to speak, Grant. So if
Thank
you
you.
could
Yeah.
not, if you could not
All right, we've got G. Lindsley, Grant Lindsley 2.0 coming back.
he's glowing.
Glowing. He is glowing,
Yeah, that's what we
actually.
were saying. That's literally what we were saying.
Your camera looks so good. Or maybe it's just the glow from your gold medal, fresh off of
Just out
your
of view. Yeah.
third World Games Gold. Congrats. Before we ask you how you're doing, give us a little head to toe again.
Yeah, stand up. Yeah, let's see the whole
Yeah,
film.
let's see. I got a little bit of pod
Yeah.
practice here. I got a little bit of pod practice gear right here.
Yeah, there we
Oh.
go. Jeez.
Whoa, where'd
The
you
cock
get
shot.
those? Where'd you get those G. Lindsley fans?
He's got inroads with the designer and the
That
athlete.
is sick.
Yeah,
Holy
that
shit.
is sick.
Every
And,
time I wear this shirt around the house, my daughter, who I'm often holding, likes to just touch this and go, baby bird, baby bird.
That's
I'm gonna have to remember that one. That's good.
That's so good.
That could be a tough intro.
That could be a tough intro.
All right, third gold medal with the World Games team. Tell us how you're feeling, Grant.
Let's see. I'm feeling a lot of things, honestly. Feeling. How do I feel today? Today, I feel kind of even a little bit. It's been a week since I got back, and I feel pretty adjusted, less jet laggy. Yeah, I kind of got thrown right back into childcare and work stuff, and it's just okay, back home, keep hitting it, Yeah, I feel I sort of have been surprised to feel like rest is actually not what I need. With all the sort of chaos in my personal life, the thing that has actually felt really good in the week since coming back from China has been continuing to lift and work out, which I wouldn't have expected, but it's kind of been exercise and training has sort of been the biggest constant in my life for 10 months straight. So yeah, I've sort of felt active and motivated
To keep going. It's
Yeah.
your meditative state.
Yeah, kind of. It's I'm kind of, I've formed such a strong habit around training in the last 10 months that hopefully it's not too much of an unhealthy addiction, but I'm trying to make it fun and not go too hard.
Were the kids watching? Did they have any sense of what you did while you were gone?
No, not really. I could have video calls with Reggie, who just turned 4, and his main thing was that in China it's nighttime when it's daytime in Utah at home.
That's my main thing too. That's so crazy, man.
Yeah, so I was telling him all about China and showing him all the panda paraphernalia that we got, and the one day of tourism that we kind of spent in the week between opening ceremonies and the first game was at the panda research station and zoo. And so I'm telling him all about it, and he pauses and he's like, so is China on planet Earth? It's just on the other side.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I feel like MJ almost didn't even know what was going on.
MJ told me that she was using you, Quinn, as a resource to figure out
Really?
what were and when. Yeah. How do I
Because she posted on Instagram. She was like, somebody's got to send me the link in the times for the games because I don't know. And I was like, I got you. So we were texting like all week, and I was sending her the links and everything and telling her what time the games were.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I was like, so this one's at 3 a.m. And she's like, oh, perfect. I'll get up and like do my art and stuff. I'm like, I am gonna be in bed.
She actually got up for a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she was watching it. She was texting me. I didn't watch. The only game I didn't watch was the China game. And she was texting me at like 2 a.m. because she was up watching it. I wasn't up watching it.
That's good.
Yeah, most of your games either started at 8-hour time or 10-hour time, so that wasn't too bad for mountain time zone.
Yeah, until bracket play.
Yeah, till finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Where should we start? There's so many interesting storylines about World Games teams, and the fact that you've been on now 3 of them. Should we start with finals since that's just like the most hype thing?
Sure.
Yeah.
So watching the game, it was so like the energy, like I could just feel it coming from across the world. And Quinn said this about our game when we played you in London, that like sloppy is not the right word. Do you remember this, Quinn? Like it's like a lot of the best players in the world making crazy plays under a ton of pressure,
with players they haven't really played with before. It's
yeah,
just like it's not sloppy. Sure, it's like there's a lot of terms, but it's not sloppy. It's not like a club pool play game that like it's the team you've been playing with for so long, and most of the players you've been playing with so long, or at least all season, and it's just like a bad game. That's just not. It doesn't describe that type of game, in my opinion.
like you can feel the energy through every single cut. Like so opening point, like you and Koch are in the backfield. I think there were 2 or 3 turns that you had. Like what is the feeling from point 1? And do you remember how it compared to other finals you've been in?
Yeah, I think the feeling by the time that this team had gotten to that gold medal match, the feeling around sloppy, quote unquote, points was better than it had been all cycle. So we sort of just like accepted, and Maddie kind of coached us explicitly into a mindset that was just really accepting of the fact that like maybe more often than not we were not having super clean offensive games, and that was really different for me to just like have some acceptance of that as like part of our identity in a way. I've never had, so like in place of offensive efficiency as like the goal, which is like always kind of the gold standard, for the O line and for the D line, right? That like I hold to. Like I've always viewed a good game from a team as a game with very few turnovers, But the identity of this team ended up being way more about defense because that was where we were strong across the board. And, compared to like the last 2 cycles, I think this was like by far the strongest team defensively that the U.S. has had. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't have a single weak link. It was like all 14 players could play lockdown D. And I think like that's what ultimately won us the tournament and won us
For
that
sure.
game. We had people who could just generate blocks. And we needed to have that because we were also turning it over some. We reduced decision errors, I think, really well. But yeah, like you were saying, Quinn, like there were just execution errors. And for having a game to only 13 with, I think it was 13 turnovers, like, yeah, that's not great on paper. But one of the things that Maddie said after the game that I loved so much was was that we played the perfect game. It was like we played the perfect game for ourselves.
Mhm.
And like it's a little tongue in cheek, but like he wants to make t-shirts that say the perfect game on the front and then have all like the sloppy stats on the back. So like I think specifically the way that mental shift manifested after that very first point, Mikey, was, it was a dirty hold. I can't remember how many turnovers there were. I don't really remember the point, but what I really strongly remember is taking this bit that Kocher sort of suggested that I think is so funny that we had not really been able to use against other teams, but against Canada, who's like, there's no language barrier. The North America a little more culturally similar. We could use this, and so we scored, and it was an O point.
Yeah.
And me and Chris and a couple other people just started screaming like, "That's a break! That's a break! That's sick! That's a break!" and there was at least one person on Canada, and this was just this was perfect. We started saying, "Nuh-uh, that was a hole! That was a hole!" And we just like loved it. So immediately, that was an energetic advantage that it felt like we had.
Oh
I
God.
noticed that. I saw Trope yelling it once on the
Nice,
thing, and I kind of knew, like, I knew there's no way that they thought
Just
actually it
trolling.
was a. I feel like the difference for me too, like from when it's like like we're talking about, like when there's games with a lot of turnovers and stuff, like as a spectator when I watch the game, like it's still very intriguing and each turnover like feels big. It's not like sometimes you're watching a game and then you're having a bunch of turnovers and you just kind of like check out and you're like, whatever, like this, this is not interesting. But like there's these games where there are a lot of turnovers, but it's still very compelling, and it feels like there's like a shift each time, and you're still wanting to watch the game, and it's still like very exciting to be watching.
I totally felt that too, and I know what you mean. Sometimes higher turnover games are like, this is sloppy, this isn't interesting, it's not good. But like high turnover combined with high pressure and like high effort, I suppose. Yeah, I thought it was and other teammates have said this too, that like watching the game replay is actually looks a lot cleaner than it felt in the moment.
Yeah, that's always the case. It seems like.
It's probably true.
Yeah, that's true. Like as I watch back, I'm like, oh wow, that happened way faster than I thought it did in the moment. Because every single pass even seems like 10 seconds goes by or 20 seconds goes by, but it's like even a point itself is usually maybe sometimes only 6 throws, but it just feels like an eternity when you're watching it live or living it.
Yeah.
Right.
My take was after the London thing was like that these teams are just so athletic and the defenders are so good and the offenses. It's really like the offense is really hard. Like I just think in ultimate, like we're almost getting, because I even feel like it in some of the club games, like that it's almost like the offense is needing to evolve because like the defenders, when they're so athletic and all they have to do is just like, they're positionally aware of where they need to be and they're just chasing you and you're never like getting that much separation, especially if the disc isn't moving super quickly. Like offense just gets really hard and the teams haven't even played together that much to really figure out like a cohesive like offensive system that's going to flow and make it even more difficult to figure out where you're positioning and stuff. So the defenders are just on your ass 24/7 because they know the space that you need to get to, and you can't just like you like both teams are aware of the space that you're trying to either attack or take away. And at that point, you're just like trying to beat each other to that space. And the people are so athletic that it just becomes so difficult offensively to like withstand any type of like flow. And I think like it kind of, and I feel like I've noticed it in some other high level ultimate games as well, where I just think like the offense needs to, I don't know. I think it's kind of like defense has taken a step up in my mind in like where we're at currently, and offenses need to kind of level up their game because it's just so difficult.
Grant, can I ask you a question about the defense of the U.S. because you mentioned that it's the best one that you've had at least the last 3 cycles, and you mentioned that people were locking down. All 14 people could lock down their matchup.
Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed that like Dylan is so good at, and I thought all the females as a unit seem to be very good at just like disrupting flow. I think the first break opportunity, this actually might have been the point where Dylan threw the Callahan, but he kind of caused the turn. So like there's like a reset cutting for Jacobson, I think, off the front of the stack, or like cutting across the front of the stack. Dylan like poaches off the front, causes mayhem. Thomas was his matchup, goes deep, and then like it's kind of a frenzy of like Michael then or Henry then passing Thomas off to Michael, and then the huck goes up because it's like there's just a lot of things going on. So it's like all Sarah sees is I see Dylan come into the space, Thomas ejects, goes deep. That seems to be the right read, but the fact that you can not only cause the disruption but help the helpers, I think played a big role in like making people second guess things on in these high pressure moments, kind of, you know, adding to just the freak athleticism that Kins is talking about. Like the team itself in clutch moments made the decision making very difficult.
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to remember if I remember that specific point correctly. It was masterful switching between Dylan, maybe Michael, and Henry. Like there were three switches that end up happening so that when the huck goes up to Edmonds, Henry is there in position to make a play. And that type of switchy defense is actually harder and not always available in mixed, and so we occasionally would do like gender agnostic switching, but that was one of those rare moments where it was like, okay, there were three male matching players, each of whom were simultaneously or like sequentially taking a threatening space, and all three of the defenders were able to see it and switch so that they could take away options A and B and then get a D on C. But yeah, so like that was a cool moment for sure. And you can see a moment where that doesn't happen. I think it was the first point out of half, but it was like Canada's cleanest, quickest O point where the disc gets centered to Edmonds.
I love that play, and I love that kid.
Yeah, it's a dope play, and he's like gone. So
just goes.
He takes this like amazing, like beautiful line, like
he like turned Michael around. Michael was like
the other side of the stack, and then deep. And there's not enough. Like if one person, and that was, I think it was Henry in that case. If one person just like doesn't hear or doesn't see the need for a switch, like that's the person that didn't see it, and they scored in just that pass. But yeah, I think there were like two other parts of it. There was one part of it was just there were 14 people who were great at like individual defense, and the other thing, and this is one of the crazy parts about playing on this team, is that we just didn't have much time together to like develop a lot of strategies and systems. And so it was at our last practice in China, the day before the first game, when two of Miranda's defensive sets that were different than just person defense actually made sense to the team. Like before that, in China, there were people saying like, I'm still kind of skeptical about whether it makes sense to use a valuable D point, trying one of these defensive looks that like doesn't fully seem like effective or make sense for us yet. And it wasn't until the day before the tournament started when it was like, okay, actually, I think this one makes sense. This one works. And there were two, one that sort of highlighted female matching players in sort of like a soft triangle, and then one that was more like man matching players, while the other was just like locked onto their matchups that totally worked. And I think like if you are watching the finals at 11, really important point.
Yeah.
Cammie gets the D on a pass that only happens because
you have
it was like
Claire
9
up
seconds
front
of just like clamping, and Claire Chastain is just in the middle,
in the
just
lane,
not guarding anybody, but guarding 7 player, like literally, like it's it was sick.
that was like that point, which like, that point could be part of why is a big part of why we won, it's like
Definitely.
that put it so that we didn't have to get a
Yeah.
break at the last point,
And it was like Thomas had the disc, and Thomas, I don't think he had turned it up to that point, and then he had 2 turns. Was that his second turn or his first turn? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But like he was all tournament, he was just lights out.
Yeah.
And then those like 2 points pretty close to each other just like junked Canada up, and he had just no looks, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And that was
I almost want to watch that. Can we watch that point? Do you want to try to watch that point?
Speaking of the gender agnostic switches too, there was one point in the game where Trope had got switched onto, is it Chamath? How do you say it?
Gangan. Yeah, Gangan.
Yeah.
And then clamped him up in the reset.
Yeah.
And then scored on the deep. And I feel like that's like
it was like you guys were down a break at that point.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a momentum.
It was like 10-8.
Where you're like, okay, like holy shit, like.
Let's see. I'll mute this. Make sure. And what point is this? Okay. So you guys, are they? Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, they had a chance to go up 12-10 here. This is the one where they turn it on the resets.
Yeah, on a Pepe's. On a Pepe's.
Is it like the next pass?
Yeah, I think it is the next pass after the stoppage.
Yeah, she like zips it at her face, and they like zip it at her face, and it's just.
Dude.
Yeah, like.
I haven't thought about this moment, but I have thought about so many other moments. I still cannot believe we won this game.
You ever thought about this moment? This is like
no, the main moment that I thought about was when they have it in the red zone on the other side of the field to potentially go up 11-8.
Yeah,
and it was like that was the first time I really found myself having the thought like we might.
Definitely.
Well, okay, we'll watch the 11-11 one, but we should watch the 11-8 point or the 10-8 point as well. Was that the one where Dion dropped it?
No.
It was they had it in the red zone. The stall count got a little higher, and they threw something a little floaty, and Marquez got it at the front line.
It was like that back.
Okay, that's the one where Claire that Kins was talking about. I think where Trope shuts down Gangan on the.
Yeah.
Or 10-8. Yeah, it's 10-8.
Okay, so here it is. Edmonds gets the disc. Marquez sets up. This, I'm pretty sure, is like our triangle zone.
Because you can see really Claire and Anna.
And it's funny, too, here, because they set up both the dumps on the break side, and it fucks them here because they would have had a free swing. Like, you would have given them a free swing.
So, wait, this moment's important.
Kez is wrapped.
This moment's important right here because Kez's mark is the first thing that sets up this D.
Yeah.
Because he is able to sell out and try and prevent this around because Chris is upfield and blocking that inside a little bit. So Kez
he collapses onto it right here.
Then Chris locks in.
Yeah. And that was so huge. I mean, in the moment, I was like, what the fuck just happened?
That's tough that Edmonds didn't hit the one reset guy. I mean, that's a good mark.
Yeah, like if he hits Gallant here, that's just so much different. But yeah, like it was a perfect defense at the perfect time too.
Yeah, it was like that. That's one of those moments where it's like, damn, the coach helped make that happen. That's so sick.
That is so sick.
Happened,
There's also definitely this level of like a team getting over the hump, which is going to be like beating the US, which is just such a mental barrier. Like the closer and closer a team gets, like the harder it becomes because the pressure is like, you know what I mean? Like, I just think like even when they would go to the timeouts, like to the, and they'd be in the tent and the Canadians would be like, we believe, like, we're going to believe. And I think they definitely got to a point where they believed that they could win, but like, what it's going to take for a team to actually get over that hump of beating the US, like in one of these events, I just feel like it's going to take almost like it's going to be something really special, I think, because it's such a built-up thing.
That's an interesting topic. I'm curious if you have an opinion on that, Grant. Like, has the pressure of expectation changed over the years? Like, was there a time when you're like, we're just going to beat everybody, and now is there a pressure of like we got to hold on for dear life, or are you just approaching it like I love this game, I'm going to train hard, and I'm going to do this with my teammates?
I mean, definitely some of the former is there. I think one of the things that makes winning this particular tournament so hard is that all the expectation of the U.S. on the U.S. to win is still there, but it's so hard. And like every single game, I think it's probably the only international tournament where like every game is kind of a dogfight, and the margins are super thin.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I actually think that's a really perceptive point, Kins, about like the closer you get to beating a team that has sort of been like on top for a long time, maybe like the more real it gets, the more you're like, wait a minute, do I believe that I can actually do this? I wouldn't actually have a whole lot to like say or comment on that idea, except, and I wish I heard this myself, but somebody said that they heard a Canadian player late in the game, like maybe when they were up, yelling "Don't panic" to their teammates. I was like,
Oh, God.
if I had heard that, if I had heard one of the Canadian players say that, even while they had the lead, that would have given me such a boost of confidence. But because I would have realized, like, oh my gosh, they're scared. I couldn't really feel it totally in the moment. Like I had enough to worry about, like focus on. But I can totally see it. And like, I think I can kind of remember like when I played on, I don't know, Sub-Zero back in the day, and we played like Revolver, who was the juggernaut at that point in like quarters of club nationals, and played them really tight for like the first half. And the score was close. It was like a 1-goal game, like 10-9 or something like that. And actually being that close to them was sort of jarring enough to sort of be like, oh, actually, this is the moment that we are not prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to get here and like beyond this, handling this new level of mental pressure. This is why we can't beat this team.
Pretty cool being the team that everybody's like, wow, we only lost by 2. We only lost by 1.
Yeah, if I were to imagine it in a movie, it's like when you're in the zone, you don't hear anything, you don't see anything, you're playing, you're not thinking about the moment, and then all of a sudden, like the weight of the moment crashes in on you, and then you just hear like the crowd and everything, and it's just claustrophobic, and you just feel tight. Here is
throw from Rafi is actually fucking crazy. So good.
So here is the moment. Is this? You mean that? Does he throw
the
assist? Yeah, he had six assists, man. Rafi.
Yeah, so I'm on the side. I'm on the sideline at this point.
There you are.
I see you.
Yeah, what are you feeling here?
Oh my god, I'm just like, okay, this for just a moment. I'm like, this could be
You're saying something.
The nail in the coffin almost. And
it's early stall too, man.
And Kez getting this block, and Trope. I forget how Trope gets. Oh, Rafi chases that, and so Rafi's on the mark, and then Trope adjusts.
Yeah, I bet he's at 6 or 7 right now.
Yeah, he's probably at 10, or he's probably at 9 because you just count fast.
Yeah.
That was huge.
The sideline was Canada's enemy for sure. I mean, you guys will always lock down.
It was. I mean, it's so interesting. Like they're like that throw is. I mean, that is crazy good.
God, I love the double-handed spike from Trope there too.
That's just a pure emotion spike too. That's like nothing. Yeah.
Oh my god.
How was Trope's hamstring?
In finals, it was incredible. Yeah, I mean, I think she was feeling it. She was feeling it some, but it wasn't visible at all in semis and finals, especially. She was just so on.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like she was just normal Trope. Like I thought she made so many clutch plays and athletic plays.
Yeah, Trope, Kayla, and Chastain were all 3 sort of physically questionable coming
Yeah.
into the tournament, and that all three of them were able to play so well was sick. Lucky, got some adrenaline or something. It was great.
Excuse me. I couldn't believe how well Claire was moving, to be honest, because they have not been practicing much at all in Colorado either. But I thought that from a movement standpoint, Claire looked like Claire.
Yeah, they looked great. It was I was really happy. Also, just like the level of restraint and discipline and just like slow progress that Chastain had to make over months to get to the point of being able to play this tournament the way they did. Yeah, pretty.
Yeah.
How mad were they at Michael? They were so mad at Michael. It seemed like they were just pissed at him the entire game on stream, like so mad at him. Was that true? Like,
We're playing like physical defense.
Physical defense, and like definitely like going for a couple of things and getting body instead of disc, and just like on stream, like it was like 4 different times. It seemed like they were just like screaming at him.
That's funny. The only one that I remember is the it might have been the play,
little bump in the end zone,
the Malik one in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, where Malik seemed like he was upset.
Well, he bumped Quinn earlier, and Quinn was doing the same thing too. It's funny.
Here's it might have been, you might be talking about the same one actually. So here's the sequence I was talking about. Gallant's about to come through. Dylan's going to flash, and then Michael and Henry kind of have to problem solve.
Yep, 3 switches all in one point. Yeah, exactly. That's just like such good heads up D from all 3 of them.
Grant, and I don't know if you have any opinions on this, or if this, because I assume this isn't something Team USA really has time to work on. Is this like just people sort of individual greatness coming together? Like, I know that I need to pick things up and it's not going to be perfect, or is this something that you really have to talk through and plan on how to coordinate these types of switches?
If that's something that they coordinated, I was not aware of it. I think that's just 3 people playing super good and a little bit lucky, a little bit lucky. Like,
sure,
if Henry's guy
was going under
wide and shallow on the break side, like Edmonds is open by 15 yards for the goal, so like there is some luck right there for sure. But yeah, I think that was right people in the right place at the right time. That was, a great point to get.
It's a bit of a calculated risk.
Yeah.
I am especially curious about it just because we've been talking about it at Bravo practice quite a bit in the last weekend. Since we have the game up, should we just watch Universe for fun?
Yeah.
And you had 1 or 2 chances to score this one too. But again, like pressure of the moment.
It looked like you guys just put out the O-line 7 that had been running the whole tournament for Universe. It wasn't like it wasn't a different line. It was just O-line.
No, there's not even an O-line actually. And like Maddie's philosophy, I think a lot of the time with Fury, and certainly with 3 cycles of this team at least, is there's just like 2 lines that are DO agnostic, and then there's just like 1 male matching player who crosses over because of the 3-4 gender ratio changes, and then same with 1 female matching player. This time, however, we did get a little bit more specialized.
That's what it seemed like. This 7 seemed like the 7 that played O most of the time.
If that happened,
or the 6 at least. Okay, interesting.
Usually what would happen, the other amount of specialization that would happen is Rafi, when there was an O point with 4 man matching players, would play that point. And Michael would do the same for D. So Rafi was a lot more offensive.
I see.
Yeah.
Michael the same way. And then
it looked like you and Kayla. Was it Kayla or was it
Me and Kayla would be the people who played on both lines, so like 2 on, 2 off. And so that's why I'm on this point, even though I played that really long last point, and I don't touch the disc here. I'm just like hoping.
Perfect.
I'm just hoping that people who are fresh can make it happen. They do.
I mean, the trope pure emotion celebrations. Every time she scores in this game, it's like none of them are like cool or like a unique spike. It's just like pure emotion celebrations, like the double-handed spike. That like it's all just.
I do love that.
So
There's something about there's like some people who celebrate and it's like a little overdone, but with what's so cool is like Claire's done this for so many years at so many levels, but you can see she has the same
just genuine.
Pure, yeah. Oh, look at the Colorado crew in the crowds there. Teammates, any good stories about like or specific challenges that come to mind?
I mean, there's lots of good stories and lots of challenges. Building a team with like good chemistry on the field and good social chemistry off the field is in like a short period of time with the pressure can be tough. I think one of the interesting things that happened was, sometimes teams will kind of convene around like a bit, and our bit ended up being K-pop Demon Hunter, the
hell yeah
movie. And I'm pretty sure it was Dawn and Cammy that kind of spearheaded it. And as soon as that hit, like day 2 of the tournament, there was a showing every day. We watched it every day in Michael and Anna's room, like everybody packed in with the Norm attacks and sitting on the floor. And then that also became the soundtrack for warm-ups and everything, like every day. And so I think like the main song in that is also called Golden. So
it is, yeah.
Some topical.
I've watched that movie more than once myself.
It's so good.
Yeah, I'm up 4 times now or 5.
Kids, you got to join the.
Yeah.
I
feel like Reggie'd probably like it.
Probably. I was thinking about it on watch number 4. There are a couple things might be too scary, but yeah.
Yeah.
He's getting close.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about touched on the another bit was the Dylan.
Yeah.
I saw you and Koch come out with the face paint on.
Definitely another memorable moment. Maybe talk about going down. Was it 10-11 to Germany, something like that, and then he gets the block on Universe.
He gets the block on Universe. It's 12-12. They win if they hold, and an undercut coming from I think like the sideline of a hoe, and he poaches off the center middle of the field to get this block. I mean, it's just like so sick, so high pressure performing when it matters, and then to like immediately jump up and sort of engine the offensive flow across the other direction to get the goal to Don, who makes a pretty sick catch. I don't know how he got his cut, but
is the disc.
I think he had the red eye black, right? Eye red. So I was like, let's do this. It didn't catch on for the whole team, but I liked putting it on myself.
It was good. Yeah, I think it was just you and Kocher.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah, that's funny. I also like the red tights. There was some discussion about your red tights, and I was going to bat for you, so I got you. Yeah.
The Germany game. Had you lost that game, or maybe talk about the Germany thing in general, because you lost to them last cycle in pool play. Did you have this game? Did you approach it any differently than any other game?
I mean, differently in that we had some different, like, specific to that team strategy and matchups and stuff, but otherwise, no, not really. I mean, I think we knew they were going to be good, and their ceiling is really high. They're super athletic. They have pretty varied types of players. Playing against them, it's like they feel like the most athletic team in sometimes. And like, I forget his name, but like number 10, especially
Mueller.
it was like, dude, that guy's
Oh, he was a defender. Yeah.
yeah.
10 is the defender.
That guy was a
Nico is a
beast.
great anchor. I guess I felt energetically a little bit off that game. I felt like that's like the one game where my defense feels like it was pretty lacking. 77 just cooked me in the mid range multiple times. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like Germany's feels like they're the type of team where if you play a game that's a little bit sloppy or like high turnover, then they can win, and they did 3 years ago, and they almost did this time.
Had you not pulled that one out, have you gone through that mental exercise at all? Like you play Canada in semis instead?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, we play Canada in semis. Anything can happen. And then like, what would it be? France.
Have been
France,
Against Germany in the other semi, which also would have been interesting. Maybe France would have been in the finals. I don't know. That would have been wild.
what could have been, but I think it all played out the way it should have. What other teammate stories can we pull out of you? Like, was there anyone that was like surprising, maybe out of the new players on the team, the rookies to this cycle, or were there like some were like who knows how many more chances you're going to get to play with a few of these players? Like, has that come to mind at all?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, finishing this tournament for a few of us, and I don't know, I'm hesitant to make any kind of like binding commitments here, but it's just like, I don't know if we're ever going to do this again, ever going to be able to play together again, certainly in like this type of environment. So it felt pivotal in some ways. The players whose first time it was doing this that I liked playing with, I mean, every single one of them, first time was great. But I mean, I really loved having Anna Thompson as a teammate. Just like such a wonderful combo of confidence and fire and kind of like effective, like kind of angry channeled energy with also composure. I mean, such a good teammate, such a good player. Michael and Henry were so sick. I think I roomed with Henry like every time the team traveled, or most of them at least. And yeah, I loved getting to know him and getting to like watch him. Michael's, I felt, I don't know, I'm curious if you, Kins and Quinn, felt this way about what you saw from tryouts, but I felt like from tryouts on, Michael was just like the best defender on the field whenever he was on the field.
Yeah.
I said Michael after the Wook team. I've been saying Michael's the best defender in the world since that team.
And yeah. I wasn't buying
and everybody said no.
Oh well, I wasn't buying it. What I will say is his stock rose immensely for me, and it was already very high watching him play at World Games.
Yeah, and he's always like a great defender, but one of the things that he is able to do is like also get the block. Like that's a skill that I frankly don't have in a big way. Like I can play lockdown defense sometimes, but like to also have that next step of getting the turnover, he's incredible. He's incredible at it.
Yeah. Michael stood out to me a lot. It's funny that you mentioned Henry. I feel like you always get stuck with the young guys because you're like last year with you were like the one old guy, one veteran with the college kids in the Bravo season. I felt like.
I mean, the more if I keep playing, that's just how it's always. I'm going to be with young guys because
they're all young.
Young people play the sport. Yeah, and I mean that's part of the emotional experience for me of having been on the other side of this tournament is like I have trouble imagining that I even try out for this team in 2029. I'll be 40 when the tournament happens, and like my kids will be speaking in full sentences and using forks and knives. Like I it feels like while I don't have a plan to like retire, it feels like I am officially on the way out. And I'm still playing and loving it, and I'm really enjoying training and everything, but to feel like um yeah, I don't know, to feel like it's like maybe it's dropping in some way in the priority list, although that's not entirely true too, but just like the amount of time that I spend is changing. My relationship to the sport is changing, and it's fun to have the change like happening while I'm still playing instead of just like walking away and having a clean break. But it has felt sort of like the most jarring part of this week back at home as I'm like jet lagged and feeling like some triumph and gratitude, but also a lot of relief that we didn't fuck it up and we didn't lose. Has been feeling like, all right, if this is like a peak to which I won't return in this sport, then there's this feeling of like needing and wanting and being excited about getting like the rest of my life more in order.
Yeah.
Personally, professionally, that I've never felt before after a tournament.
Are you feeling nervous about it or scared?
Yeah, I was texting I think a teammate about this. Like I think the fear when I'm feeling fear about it mostly just comes from like fear that I might not have the courage or discipline to like fully realize the amount of fulfillment that I think will exist for me after frisbee, but that I have to
Yeah.
create. Like it's retiring from frisbee is going to be hard. Like all of us are going to eventually face the music in some way, and
I'm 27 and I think about it all the time.
do you?
Yes, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about it more intentionally for the last year, and I really like being able to think about it while I'm still playing, partly just to like prepare for it, but also it makes me more grateful for it while I still have it. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm a little nervous. I think I'm excited, but I'm also a little nervous. It's going to be a huge change to eventually stop playing.
Yeah, you were mentioning like setting priorities or like getting things in order, and also mentioning the work that you've put in for frisbee. Like I think to get fulfillment out of anything, maybe for at least the type of people we are, you do have to put a lot into it. So um, it's scary because like you're not currently investing your energy into that as much. But I think when you do start pouring into it, like things that you pour energy into tend to give energy back. So it's scary, but I'm optimistic for you.
Thank you. Yeah,
And
true.
and you still have plenty of time. You got this year with us.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Don't panic.
Don't panic.
Yeah, I got 10 to 15 years left for sure.
Yeah. You'll be Quinn will retire before you do.
Yeah. You were like one of the fastest dudes out there, which is pretty crazy. Like watching while watching the games, like acceleration wise, which I think is like, I mean, that's I think that's pretty absurd.
Thanks, man. That feels good, and that's part of what has me feeling like I still have some runway. Is like I still feel effective. I still feel effective on the field, and if that weren't the case, I think the calculus would be different. But I still like it, and I still feel solid on the field. So
It made me wonder if people are playing too much, because like I like watching you and thinking about how you're not playing UFA and like you just had World Games for the most part, like this whole year. Whereas
I don't wonder. I know for
yeah,
a fact.
but 100%. Because I was even talking to someone yesterday, but like I'm playing on the team here and like I'm playing with the Grossbergs, but like these kids and even me, but like you have UFA, you're playing club, they have like U24s, and it's like your body's just not really ready to go. I don't know, that fast at tournaments and stuff. And I just think that's evident because you look so, quick, and like there weren't that many people who I think had like a burst like that. So I don't know, something to think about for players who are engaging in so many different events year round.
I've been thinking about that a lot over this year, especially, and like, yes, every body is different, and maybe this like makes more sense for somebody in the second half of their career who like, because I have just a muscle memory and a lot of reps
Yeah.
in my system
Mm-hmm.
from years of playing and throwing. But yeah, like the number of times I have played Frisbee this year, I think I can count on one hand. Before
That's
the
insane.
World Games tournament started, it was like 2 tryout weekends. There were 2 practice weekends, and then the London tournament. And I threw one other time with one person.
What?
And otherwise, like it was just a really disciplined workout schedule of like lifting, yoga, track, cleated workouts on my own. But I do sort of feel like not having 4-hour weekend practices most weekends has helped my body feel pretty fresh and just like, yeah, I'm not banged up coming into the tournament. So, it's also kind of like lonely at times. Like I'm working out alone all the time. I don't have friends locally. So there can be downsides to that approach as well. But yeah, I do think it's helped. It's also just like what my life has to be, and so I'm choosing to make it, like a tactic.
Yeah, someone in Utah hit up G Leezy. He needs a workout, buddy.
Dude, the one time that I threw was with
Kerr?
Jordan Kerr,
Yeah.
who drove like 90 minutes up to Ogden from, I think, Provo on a weekday morning. I was like, that was the only way that I could make it happen. So
That's
props
so
to Jordan.
funny. Yeah, you do have the muscle memory for it. Let's ask you about. So maybe I'll try to prompt you on a couple teammates and what you think about them. How about Dylan?
God, where to start? I mean, I think I credit Dylan with like being the player that inspired the biggest like change in the way that I approached the sport. In 2017, the first time we played on this team together, all of the training and coaching that I'd ever received was like stay even, never get too high, never get too low. Also, just like be an offensive player. I never actually really focused on defense at all. My entire career, I never had to play D line, even on like a 16-year-old playing club, until 2017, when I saw Dylan and got to be his teammate and his roommate and see like actually there can be some real benefit to allowing yourself to get high and low at times too, and like trusting that I can handle a high and that like I can use that, and also that like sometimes focusing on outcome instead of process also is okay, because like what's the worst that happens as I don't get the outcome? Okay, like I can handle that, and actually having the outcome goal sometimes is really helpful and motivating because it's like I can't just rationalize failure like it's a 0 or a 1. And yeah, so just like mentality, Dylan has been somebody that I've like been inspired by, looked up to in a lot of ways, like fed off of his energy as a teammate. He cares so much. He cared so much about this team. Like the number of paragraph texts that he would send to me or to like a group of players or to the group me, it was like often just him alone on the team group me, message after message. And I would try to like join and mirror and be another active voice because the team was not super active when we weren't together.
Yeah.
Electronically. So yeah, I'm really glad that he was able to get that block like in the Germany game because I felt like he deserved like a moment in the sun. And I remember a shred teammate a couple years ago. We were like in an Arby's or some away game watching something on someone's phone, and the person said that they thought Dylan was washed, and I immediately was like, nope, you do not know what you're talking about. I guarantee
You
that's
told
just
me about this, yeah.
a terrible take. And 2 years later, he's like, it's windy at the second tryout. Dylan's doing things that still only Dylan can do. Dribbling the way he dribbles and like moving the disc and moving after it, and like high percentage passes that also are like tempo and like offensive engine, IO breaks, just field vision. And I mean, just like so good. I can't say enough about Dylan as a teammate.
I definitely was questioning his ability to play defense at that level when he made the roster, but like he was a really solid, even like very good handler defender for you guys. Like
how many people?
if not your best handler defender, it was pretty. I was very, very impressed and happy to see it. Talk about the number 23. Did he say why he was wearing 23?
Oh, I might not be able to get it exactly right, but I think part of it's just an ode to Jimmy.
Yep, that's what I thought.
And also, I was wearing 10, which he often wears.
That's his number. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Was Kayla 5?
Yep.
Kayla has been 5 at least, which is another number that he wears. So
yeah, she was 5 again.
Okay, yeah. So I think 23 was partly an ode to Jimbo.
I'm sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We're due for a Dylan on Twitter about Jimmy rant. We're due.
Yeah, that's right.
How about Kayla?
Boy, Kayla, 2022 cycle, Kayla showed up to tryouts and it was just like, okay, I'm the fittest person here. I'm the fastest person here. I'm getting run through Ds constantly. Like, you're crazy not to take me on this team. And this time she made it and then had this hip flexor thing and was sort of just like physically, this sort of was my case too, after making the team. Like I had this hip thing where, it was just like playing at 80%, a little bit uncertain, a little bit, in her case, because we had KJ, an alternate in China, sort of as a backup in case Kayla, Trope, or Chastain were sort of medically cleared to play. It was like high stress, I think, and pressure on all three of them. But we're talking about Kayla now to like perform and be ready to go. And we had a friendly against Australia like a couple days before the tournament started. And both Kayla and Trope had like collision plays where it was like, shit.
Oh God.
Is this like a moment where one of them is like gonna get swapped out? This is super intense. And once the decision was made to go with the roster that we went with, and I think that must have just been like a huge weight lifted. And then Kayla, I don't know, looked 100% to me, and like her hucks, I think especially were just like pinpoint in like critical moments. Defense was tight, like long space making movements, also money. Kayla also, Kayla's just like a really kind and like takes a lot of initiative with being a good teammate. And so like she got me this, I should have worn it for this podcast, but she got me this dope gold chain with like this sequiny panda on it wearing a crown that is in my rotation for jewelry now. But yeah, Kayla was a lights out teammate and player all tournament. That's one of the things about this team is like you just get people on it who, for the most part, like you were just saying about Dylan being a defender in the handler set, like Kayla was this way too. Just like when the moment is there, they step up, and that was for sure Kayla too.
I want to ask about every teammate, but how about how about I'll switch gears and go Maddie Sang?
Yeah, where to start? One of the best coaches ever. I love him. Yeah, great person and coach. And I think in some ways, this team, I wonder what he would say about this, but like this team is probably a special type of challenge because part of his biggest strength is like being in the moment in person with the group, which of course with Fury, when you're like practicing every weekend and together all the time, and he's able to like host people at his house and cook for them and do that, like he's able to lean on that strength a lot more than he's able to with a team that is only coming together a handful of times. And so yeah, like just the way that he's able to have an impact on the culture and like provide in meetings like logistics, offensive point, defensive point, and there's always like a mental focus too, which in his case can often come with like a story. It's great, yeah, to feel like there's a coach that is as like cleanly keeping the pulse of the team and also guiding it at times. Yeah, it's just like a total gift.
He's that beacon. Yeah, everything that Maddie does just seems so authentic to me.
Over here at Pod Practice, we are excited to announce that we are partnering with Greatest Bag to provide you with all of your ultimate bag needs. If you're looking to get a new ultimate bag, head on over to greatestbag.com. And if you use code PodPractice10, you will receive 10% off your purchase.
I'll ask about one more teammate, Marquez, just from a standpoint of not only his play, but as a teammate himself. But did he have? Do you know if he experienced any other types of pressure just from being the biggest tech YouTuber in China? Like, did that become a thing at all? Was he recognized?
He was recognized some. There was, I think there was one person. We would sometimes get mobbed between like the stadium exit and the bus. And there was one person who had brought like a big cutout of Marquez to take a picture of with Marquez. But I don't think, my sense was that was not super different than it is anywhere else.
He's used to.
Recognized. He's kind of consistently seems to be like gracious and willing to engage with people. And but yeah, as a teammate, I've been teammates with him before on Pony and Empire. So I've like familiar with him as a person and a player. I think he just continues to get better. Like I told him this. I think I like praised this publicly to the team at one point early in the process, like probably back in May or June, of just like, I don't know if I can think of a player who's improved as much as he has over the past like 3 years. And I think that this team, I don't wonder what he would say, probably helped him feel like he leveled up again in some new ways. I think that his mark and his ability to be a deep receiver are still maybe underrated. Like he's really elite at both of those things. And the fact that he's able to also be threatening in the handler space, I think is just like, I feel like he still hasn't even hit his ceiling yet. Like I feel like he's Mike Grant is the player that sort of comes to mind a little bit, like somebody who's just able and like has the body type also to sort of do everything at a 9 or 10 out of 10 level.
Yeah. He has a really smooth game, I would say. Where else can we take this conversation? I could keep Kins Quinn. I could keep asking about teammates, but what comes to mind for you guys?
I got a question for you too, before you ask it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the parts of like the pressure of this team, I think, is like knowing that the people who are watching, the elite players, I should say, in the US.
I should be on that team.
Yeah, who are watching.
This is a good topic.
Either like, A, I should be on this team, or like, B, I hope they lose, Because if they do lose, I definitely should have been on that team. Or, if they lose and it's like,
This
Yeah, a
is
little
really
bit of humble
interesting.
pie. Like I want to know, what was it like for y'all to be watching, especially the close games?
Yeah, I have a long kind of a long answer for this. When I first didn't make the team, um, I like obviously like I reacted like at first with anger. That was my first reaction. Um, so at that point, I was like, God, I hope they lose like right away. Um, and as I thought about it more, based on like the tryout, I don't believe I should have made the team. Like the tryout I was able to do with the level where my body was at, I don't think I even should have made the second tryout. Like I didn't. Um, as I thought about it more, weeks to months after, I was like, there's no bone in my body that hopes this team loses. I have too many friends on that team to where it's like, I was like, there's just like, that was like, even like, I was just like, that was such a stupid thing to think about. Like when I first thought, I was like, I want this team to lose. Like weeks to months after, I was like, that's so dumb. Like I have too many people that like I care about on this team that I like want to win so bad now. And I like, I thought about more. I'm like, I do think these players deserve to be on this team. So it was kind of like an evolving emotion for me. And then even watching, I was like, I think like watching you guys play, and it was just amazing, honestly. And the only other like person that I was like really, really wanting to succeed was Thomas Edmonds, because I'm close with Thomas. And so watching him play so well, and watching him like, I think like silver, obviously it's not gold, but it is a success for them. So honestly, I feel like I got the best of both worlds, being a spectator and elite player watching. Like I got to watch you win again, and Kocher and Rafi, and just like all in Michael and all the players that I think are amazing, and I'm friends with, was exactly what I could have hoped for, to be honest.
Yeah.
Kins, you pissed? You pissed?
No. Kind as in the normal range of all the emotions. I feel like that. Like there's like a level of frustration, but I feel like watching it was actually hard. Like I didn't really want to watch because it made me feel very strongly.
I was
But
jealous as fuck watching too. It looked so fun.
yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
there's a lot of me that's like, when I watch, I'm just like, yeah, like I want to, that's what I want to be doing. Which is a lot of the time whenever I watch like any, like when I'd gone to like championship weekend or whatever, you just get this like feeling of like, I want to be the one out there like making plays that like people are like, holy shit, like that's insane. But then like, especially after the finals, like watching, I felt really just motivated. There was just like, I honestly had like this really strong feeling after, like I just had to go like sit outside for a second in the dark because it was nighttime, and just like breathe for a second, because I was like, especially like watching everyone's reactions like afterwards. I feel like I'd been like suppressing some of the feelings for a while of like how much I care about Ultimate, and it kind of just like you know awoke some of those feelings. Like I really really liked that. I didn't like, but I just thought it was like when Mika was just like crying so much after the finals. Like I was like, I used to cry when I'd lost, and I haven't done that in a while. But I like, it felt nice to like see someone else expressing those emotions. And yeah, just afterwards, I just felt very, very motivated, and like it kind of lit some of that fire that had been dormant for a while. So, it was a healthy experience.
And to be an asshole for a second, if I'm 100% healthy, I do think I deserve to be on that team, and I'm good enough to make that team, but it didn't play out that way, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think I look at the game from so many different perspectives too. In the moment, I was up in the middle of the night on the Ulti World Discord in the one of the voice channels with Keith, and I was looking through all the the chat room or the Discord channel messages and feeling the emotions of different people. And I did see the vast majority of everyone was stoked and so celebratory of everybody's game. And I liked that a lot. That was refreshing. Like every time Kayla threw another huck, it's like, holy shit, Kayla's throws are dialed. There's also like a fan energy. So like, let's see, what are the different perspectives? There's like a fan, maybe friends of people on the team, friends of people who didn't make the team, and friends with maybe opponents. So like I look at it, it's like sometimes it's just pure USA versus whoever. Like I'm an American, but that is actually that doesn't make me root for the USA anymore. Maybe it's because it's a little bit of the political spectrum, but also because like it's kind of cool to see an upset every once in a while, and that's maybe speaking more as a fan. So like when I see Canada playing well, I'm like, oh, this is exciting. Like now, like I'm into it and find myself like sometimes I don't know who I'm going to root for until I turn the game on. And then there are moments like when Thomas is playing well, or Mika does something cool. It's like that. I could be happy if they won. So I wouldn't say that it's like for me it was as black and white. Like there are moments where it's like I really want to root for individuals. Sometimes it was a specific team. Sometimes it was just like a moment I wanted to see like this play happen. So like I think it's really messy, but overall like just stoked at the end. Like it kind of was like what Quinn mentioned. It's like I really enjoy the experience of just kind of not having any stake in the game and kind of just being able to be happy with whatever outcome. But then like now I can sort of selfishly just jump on the US bandwagon. Like, well,
it's not a bandwagon. You're an American.
I'm an American. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So from my perspective, I don't know what to say. I was rooting for the US, but also at times not rooting for the US.
It was funny because obviously the semi and the final were at 3 a.m. Mountain Time. So for the semi, Devin and I woke up at 1:30 to watch Thomas play. It was funny. He stayed at our house the night before he left for China because it was U.S. Open. And then he stayed at our house and he flew out to China the next day. So we woke up at 1:45 to watch the semi. And then there was like 45 minutes in between this Thomas's semi and your guys' semi. So we were like kind of like napping awake. And then we would do this thing where like a couple points into the game, we'd take a gummy so we could fall asleep afterwards because we were just like so jazzed up. So we did that. Next day, it just felt like absolute dog shit. Like I was just cooked, bro. And then we did the same thing for the final, and it was just like such a weird experience waking up at like 2:45, 3 o'clock to watch. And then we'd take like an edible and try and like fall back to sleep, but like I could barely fucking sleep, even though I was like kind of like just zooted a little bit. I'm like in bed, like in the dark, and it's just such a weird experience being like just thinking about like Frisbee and you guys and being excited that you guys won and like all this stuff. And it was just
a lot of emotions.
I had jet lag. Together. I literally had jet lag for like 3 days because of waking up in the middle of the night.
Also, I'm shocked and impressed that Devin was down to get up and watch with you too.
Devin's a diehard.
She loved the World Games. She loved it, dude. Nice. It was really cool. She might have wanted Canada to win. I'll leave the jury out. Yeah, no, she was happy, but my mom is the most upset one that I didn't make the team, so she can be mad. She can be mad for me
all
instead.
Of you. Yeah. Yeah. What feelings come to mind when like you think about this, or because like does it feel like we're not rooting for you, or like that your home crowd is not rooting for you at times, or do you feel more of the pride that we have, because it is a complicated question to answer.
I mean, I think about it. Maybe I don't know. I think my perspective on like watching y'all play in Australia at Book last summer was maybe similar in some ways of feeling like, okay, I'm not there. It looks fun. I love the idea of some Cinderella team beating the U.S. Like it, there's like a part of me that feels like that's also good for the sport, in some way, to feel like it's like growing and like build some international excitement. If there are other teams in other countries that are not just good but like winning, and then also feeling like a lot of pride when the US in fact wins, like I think especially in like a close game, like watching that crazy universe point, I think, between the US
Colombia
and
and
Colombia on the
yeah,
women's side was like, wow, I definitely at times believed that Colombia winning would feel great. And then when I'm actually watching it, I'm like instinctively rooting for the US and wanting, those players to win. But I don't know. I can imagine, I think especially, next time, like when it's in Germany in 2029, feeling like I'm just gonna enjoy whatever happens and feel like, all right, if the US wins its seventh in a row, that's gonna be sick and fun. And I know how hard it probably will have been for all of that to happen. And if it doesn't happen, I'll find a way to be stoked for whatever team wins, because that's gonna be pretty sick too.
yeah, yeah. It's an interesting topic.
Was there any talk about like, because you mentioned like how you get together so infrequently, and I know Maddie's been thinking about that a lot. Like, was there any discussion of ways to, get the World Games team able to practice and meet more frequently than currently?
Definitely. I think Dylan has a lot of really good thoughts about this too. I would read and save any kind of Twitter rant, Dylan, if you listen to this, that you're willing to put out there about this, because yeah, like the US just puts itself at a disadvantage compared to a lot of other teams. And part of it's like the size of the country, and it's difficult and expensive to get everybody together, but there is definitely an opportunity for this team to be formed earlier, and for there to be some like continuity maybe across cycles in some way. um I mean, even just like having tryouts earlier and like announced earlier, would be great. But I don't know, yeah, it's a hard team to form, even if USAU, I think, did some things that I think they should do to just make it an earlier, more continuous process. Um, yeah, it really
Keep,
requires people to be. It requires people to be like good players, and also the types of people who can like build a team quickly, and coaches who can do that too.
Hey dingus, stop using your grandma's cleats held together with athletic tape and step into a fresh pair of Tokais, specifically designed for ultimate frisbee. And while you're at it, support your favorite idiot podcasters using our referral link, tokai-ultimate.com/podpractice.
What do you think about like contrast and calls and like how people play, the ideas of like how the game should and can be played and like that kind of stuff? Because I felt like, I just feel like different countries and whatever have different perspectives on like what is all right. So what do you think about that? Like going up in against the other teams and with calls and
It's a good question. I think the Canada gold medal game felt very familiar. It was like very kind of like North American style play. But the semis against France didn't at times, and I think like I personally came into that semi feeling a little bit, I mean, on edge, just because of the pressure of the moment, but also because I had watched their universe game against Colombia the day before, um, which France won, and I was only watching it on like the the stream, so not really seeing everything, but it was like a really contentious looking game, and it looked like there were as many calls as throws, and so it felt like these are two playing styles or two teams or two cultures that are just like not finding a common ground with like
Mm-hmm.
spirit, style of play. And so I came in thinking, probably in a way that I shouldn't have, but thinking like, oh, France is gonna really be ticky tacky with us, and I'm like, I don't have patience for it. And that there were a couple times, couple calls that I probably should have been like a little bit more calm in the beginning of them, because especially in whiff diff, and we got this feedback after the game, like having a conversation about things is what you're supposed to do, and what you're and so like taking a beat to really hear out the other player's perspective before I vociferously give my own would have maybe been the better way. But yeah, and I think the other thing that I noticed was that like the bit that I mentioned earlier, where we'd like shout "that's a break" on a dirty hold, it just like doesn't really work against Team Japan. That like doesn't do anything against Team France even, probably. And so it was like only in Canada could that be a thing that sort of landed, and also like a little bit of sportsmanly trash talk was like something that could happen in the Canada game without it feeling like it was a serious breach of spirit. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. International play is interesting because like in a lot of ways, there are a few examples, I suppose, of spirit going like terribly. There are like some infamous games. Like I think there's a Japan Canada game that's similar, like years ago.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, because there's this like very obvious mismatch of like backgrounds and this lack of shared ground, it's like people tend to follow their higher natures and like be pretty respectful and spirited while being competitive.
It is a different style. Do you find when you're matching up against an international team that you don't know as well, do you feel like maybe even less confident, or does that come into play at all?
I don't know. I think with confidence, probably the answer is like no. There's no change in confidence. Maybe if another team's like really clicking and I don't know them. I mean, I think I felt that way about France maybe a little bit, because I was saying all tournament that they were an inspired team and they looked like it, and so I felt nervous before that game that they were going to do stuff that we didn't hadn't faced, maybe like didn't understand and wouldn't be able to adjust to. But in the end, their style was more or less like familiar and kind of North American. Like only like Colombia and Japan are like the obvious examples of like, oh, this is a different style where they're making cuts or like timing things in a way that just like my brain is not accustomed to. And so like, am I going to be able to like retrain my instincts to like in the game be able to adjust, or are they going to beat us because of
Yeah.
being used to that? I didn't feel that as much this time because we didn't play Colombia, and our probably best game was against Japan. Like offensively, our best game was the Japan game to start things off. So no, there wasn't a big change in confidence.
There is something about the unknown that gives me fear. For instance, when we were in London, just like not knowing who the big athletes were on Germany or France, and then like just that for some reason that unknown made it to me feel like, oh shit, that guy is a terror. And then we go play the US, and I know like Rafi is like the best receiver in the world, but then because I know Rafi and I've seen Rafi, for some reason like the fear because there's less unknowns about it. Like I know, like we have like a familiarity. It just doesn't scare me as much.
Yeah.
All right. How about what was your biggest lesson learned from the tournament? Did you learn anything new?
That's a good question. I think a lot of what I tried to learn in this tournament was around like what's the best way for me to be a leader and a teammate on a team where it feels like I'm not as central, kind of like culturally, as maybe I was in 2022 or kind of was as like a younger player in 17. Like in a lot of ways, helping to build this team meant like yes, being authentic, but also kind of like getting out of the way and helping to support like the younger, hotter voices, you know. And so like figuring out how to maximize the team's potential by being supportive,
Yeah.
as opposed to like being in the spotlight, for example, felt like a pretty fun thing to try and do.
You know, that makes me think of, I think Nut has been doing a pretty good job of this year too, is sometimes like, I think your voice carries a lot of weight, for instance, Grant, and it has years of experience behind it and like proven success. Sometimes, like even what can be even more powerful is if someone else says something um, meaningful or correct or useful, and if you just say yes, like that is, if you affirm that, like that is even more powerful than you just saying it, because it's like it also uplifts them. If I see that Grant's buying in to what that person's saying, then like I'm super bought in. So I think that is a cool lesson to learn.
I don't know if this is something that I learned, but something that I was sort of like my mantra, or like the thing that helped me stay focused throughout the tournament and feel like I could find success was I just thought about 200s. Like 200s were the thing
Yeah.
that were in my mind. Like this, when I'm on the field, all I have to do is run 200s. You know, like and that kind of helped keep it simple for me and avoid like overthinking and focus on the thing that's important, which is just like max effort and like taking big lines, um, and making a lot of space, you know, like not worrying. And like what I said earlier about the learning, like being willing to run 90 yards and not touch the disc, because that's just like what's helpful for the offense. Being willing to get down on the pole and be tired in the hopes that A is like helpful for the defense on the field, but also like it's visible. It's visible to the teammates who are on the sideline if you're working your ass off on just pull coverage, you know. So yeah, that helped keep it simple. And I started to like yell it, you know, other times from the sideline, just yelling 200s. I think I like started yelling 200s after catching a goal at one point, because it was just, that was the bug in my ear the whole time. There's just like no replacement for me. Like I think especially having gotten into lifting for the first time in my life in a much more like structured way over the past year, while I have loved the discipline of it, the increase in strength, like yeah, I look a little better from my like normally super skinny self. Still, the thing for me at least that makes me feel like is the by far the most important is wind. You know, like just how fit, just how much running can I do, and if I can do more than somebody else, like nothing else really matters. You know, like also if I'm less fit and I don't have the wind as somebody else who I'm playing against, like it doesn't really feel like it matters that much that I have other advantages, you know, like just being able to outrun people on a point feels like kind of the number one thing. And that has downstream effects too, of like, if I'm less tired, that is probably going to translate into better decision making with the disc too, because if I'm super tired, I'm more likely to throw a fatigue huck, or like not pump fake, or not actually bend my knees when I'm throwing an open side throw or something like that. So yeah, like when a Chinese player came up to me between the stadium and the bus, was like, what's one thing, that I should do to get better? I just said, like, run 200s, get familiar with fatigue, like practice being really exhausted so that it doesn't feel as bad in the game.
I know there's a good Denver core that subscribes to that because they're always running your grinders. Sam Van has specifically said when he had to like chase down a deep block, he's like, I'm just running the 200 right now. And he did. It's kind of one of those long points where he was slower than the receiver, but because they were both fatiguing, he's just fatiguing less, so he was able to run by the guy and get position and get a block. I don't know if it's helped his decision making, but we're still working on that. How about tournaments, more tournament stuff, like kind of broad thinking here. And maybe I should ask this question earlier. Like team construction wise, like for instance, wouldn't say you had a traditional handler on the team. Like the closest thing to it is maybe Anna or maybe Marquez, maybe Dylan and Finney as well. But when the team is coming together, is that something that the coaches are talking to you about? Is that something you're thinking about, or are you just so confident that every player can do anything and it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I mean, the coaches talked about wanting people to change levels often, and I think that in like its strongest shape made us a lot harder to game plan against, because any defender is going to have to defend a handler and a kind of a mid and a deep threat. But it also means, like, again, especially with a team that doesn't have a lot of time to build chemistry, it also means that like internally there can be some confusion. And yeah, that occasionally happened where it was like we would feel stagnant. We would need a handler to get downfield. Or we'd be in the red zone and there'd be 5 people who think they should be kind of running the set. And so it was just like a kind of a cluster and like a mess. It didn't happen as much that people would clear the handler space and then there would be somebody isolated, like abandoned with the disc. So it was more often, and like that makes sense on a team like this where most people on their club teams are like ball dominant, getting the touches. And I think that what we needed to do, and eventually I think did certainly well enough, was make hard movements that don't get the disc, so that the defense is spread out, so the defense gets tired, so that the offense stays dynamic. And I think, I don't know, in my opinion, it's a more beautiful game when you have players who are able to change levels like that, because there's just a lot more movement and it's more of like a 7-person swirl instead of this backfield core trying to get it to the next group. It's like that feels more like foosball in a way. And maybe it's also just because like the type of player I am, I like to be able to change. And I also like y'all know what it's like to defend a player who's doing, like, it sucks to have an upline cut turn into a deep cut. Like nobody wants to defend that,
Right.
And it's also great as a defender if I know the handler I'm guarding going upline is not a deep threat at all.
Yeah.
Like
Watching Kocher in the handler set this time around was very, very impressive. I feel like that's a piece of his game that he's added in the last year or two. That's just like, maybe he's still not the the biggest hucking threat, but like watching him get open in the handler set one and being able to break the mark in really, really effective and advantageous ways for the offense was pretty impressive with his like cutting ability and his skill set.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like because we went to the same high school and he was a freshman when I was a senior, and we had this like 1 year of overlap when he was 14 or 15. And like, we grew up kind of in the same system. I feel like I can really see the like mechanics of him in the handler set of like, oh man, this is the same infrastructure that like I was given as a teenager. So I can like see his fundamentals really clearly and beautifully. And yeah, I felt like he stepped up in a big way into a role that has not always been his main one. And he was also captaining the team this time, which he just did. He and Finney did so well. Amidst all of the kind of chaos that is this team coming together, Chris had a really consistent message about just like reminding us that we can be confident, which was a really, I think, nice, like grounding message to repeat as many times as he did. So yeah, as a leader, as a player, handler, he was money. And it was nice to also see one of those like classic Chris defensive moments where in the finals he didn't get it, but like that end zone line layout that getting caught and towed into the end zone in the front. It's like, yeah, Chris still has this too.
I thought he was gonna get that. Was huge. Yeah.
Are you looking for an ultimate specific training program? Try Brian Nevison's Ultimate Mobility membership. He offers ultimate specific training, customized feedback on your form, weekly live check-ins, full in-season, preseason, and off-season programs, and you can help support the pod by using our referral link in the description below. Any off-field memories that come to mind?
Off-field memories, let's see. Chastain probably made what I think is the trade of the tournament. There was this photographer who would be taking our pictures in like the side of these big white canvas tents before we'd walk out into the field. And this dude was wearing these incredible, cool, like super baggy black pants that just like cut off right at the ankle. And Chastain traded their greatest bag for this dude's pants. I was just devastated.
Wait, they're just like like streetwear pants?
Yeah, 100%. And I think I came in second place with a cool trade. I traded like my sandals and hoodie for the French team had matching sneakers, and they were like pretty cool shoes. So I got a pair of those. I was pretty stoked about that.
That's funny.
Yeah, what else? The dining hall in like the athletes village was kind of crazy. Like the whole athletes village was pretty interesting. It was like a very modern sort of like conference campus sort of feeling thing. So there was like a laundry room, and there was like a free, just like always open barber where a bunch of players got their haircuts. There was like a robot dog like walking around and barking in like the meeting room by his place. And then there was like a free nail station. So it took forever, but like for half an hour I got my nails done and like
hell yeah,
printed symbols on them. The dining hall was kind of a big adjustment. There were people who were really stoked to either go out if possible or just come back to the US and be eating the food that they're used to. But trying to think what other stories actually happened that were fun and cool. It really felt like there were kind of two different Chinas that I was able to see. Like I had never been to China before, and the tournament and the hotel were like an hour southeast of kind of the city. And a couple times we took a train into the city center, once for practice, I think once to go to like see the pandas. And it was super interesting to just see this like alternating these like alternating lives of there'd be some super developed kind of like modern looking conference center development thing, and then the next couple miles would just be like cornfields, super old buildings, people, out there like in straw hats using manual tools, and like super green, humid, like forest, and then another really modern development. And so there was, like really interesting to see, some of the DDs, some of the cars were like old, like beater VWs, and then others would be these like brand new, super sleek BYD electric cars. The city's like more than twice as big as New York, so it's like it's massive.
That's insane.
And but you can't drink the water. Like you had to bottled water the whole time. So it was a really interesting feel of sort of like developing world, but also like more
Very
developed
modern
than what I'm used to in the US.
Did you guys watch other sports?
A little bit. Got to watch some squash. Was pretty sick. There was like a live DJ and like a light show before it happened.
What?
Dancers that came out. And at first, at least, like we were the only fans, like 5 of us that went to watch. It got more crowded later, but like there was a jumbotron and there was this DJ, and then we got on the jumbotron and it was like, oh, this is sick, like it's dark, there's blue lights playing, the music's really loud, before this like squash quarterfinal, and then we just kind of stay on the jumbotron and there's no other fans to cut to, and so they're like, oh, it's just you and you're gonna stay on like minutes on end. So it's kind of like, oh, and now the jumbotron is just like us being kind of calm and like feeling awkward, and then we get kind of hype again, and that was fun.
What
I
was
missed this, but the very first night people went out to get hot pot and ordered like, I think it was duck blood. So a bunch of people drank duck blood or like put it in their soup, which sounded kind of good.
I think I would have enjoyed the cuisine quite a bit. How about what was the celebration like?
That's what I was actually just thinking about too, is in our kind of like hotel/dorm, I think all the other Frisbee athletes were in the same spot, and Team Australia was on the second floor above us, and I think it was Kat Phillips' room. They took out all the beds, the bed frames, the lamps, the tables, like everything. They just took it out and put it in the hallway. And somebody had like a disco light and some good speakers. And so there was like a, classic, like sweaty dance party in there that basically lasted all night. And, we got on there and played some music. Colombia was playing some reggaeton. Eventually France kind of took it over and like played this techno that I could not tolerate. And
really, I like French pop electronic music.
But yeah, the celebration was nice. It was nice. It's like, this is kind of what I love about club, and also about this was like being able to be with the other teams at the party. I don't know, maybe UFA has changed in some way and that's like more available, but like I feel like that's one of the huge cultural pieces that's just missing from pro. It's so cool to be able to have unstructured, like informal party time with people from other teams.
I agree. Some teams will like invite the other team to like their bar or wherever they go to afterwards, but it's never the same, and it's only 2 teams.
Right.
And I think at championship weekend, but it's only 4 teams. It's not quite the same. Was this Canada final, like, how can you put it in the pantheon of your favorite games you've played in? Where would it rank?
It feels like it's up there. Somebody, it might have been Anna, like polled the group at one point on GroupMe, asking the question, like, when you play, I'd be curious for y'all's answer to this, like how much are you playing to win versus how much are you playing to not lose? And often I am playing to avoid the feeling of losing, not to like reached the joy of
winning.
And playing on this team in 2017 was the first time where that really was not true. And like I was playing to win that tournament, and winning felt amazing, and I was like stoked about it. Like to the point earlier, I was of like learning from Dylan. I was like, I'm gonna make victory feel incredible if we get there. And I think because this was, my third time and feeling like maybe a different level of pressure and feeling like, okay, yeah, I've made the team 3 times, but if the third time is us not winning, like that sucks. That hurts. You know what I mean? I don't want to be part of the group that like doesn't win,
Yeah.
So there was some playing not to lose for me
Yeah.
at this time. And I think especially because of the way that game went, like coming back and really like almost losing. I definitely felt some of the relief, and yeah, like we had cheated death in a way. I mean, I had said this to the team like in preparation for this tournament. It was like games of 13 feel really short. Other teams care so much. The margins are thin, and there's often like not room to come back in these games. And like somehow we did like 10-8 to win, or down 8, down 8-10. So yeah, like that has worn off some, and it's a little more of like gratitude more than like joy and triumph. There's a little bit of a feeling of like we're in on a secret in a way, but that we won, because like I still can't believe that we pulled out that game. In fact, I was saying this to a couple other people on the team, like probably for 2 whole days after that game, I would have little moments of stress because I would feel like Canada could still win.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't actually fully accepted that
I know what you mean.
it was over.
The body hadn't recovered from that. It hadn't come down yet.
Yeah.
This year's Mama Bird team had this mantra at nationals where they would say, "Are you ready to kill, or are you ready to die?" Which is, I think, kind of similar to the thought of, "Are you playing to win or lose, or win or not lose?" I think they found a good balance of like how like they were almost treated each point that way, where they would ask each other if you're ready to kill her or if you're ready to die, and usually that meant more of like, are you ready to go make a play, or would you die for your teammates? And in finals of college nationals against your alma mater, they said, a lot of them said that they lost that mentality entirely, where they just like weren't ready to do either. So maybe then I categorized this incorrectly. Maybe they were just playing not to win. So maybe I shouldn't equate being ready to die with playing not to lose, because they got super tight, and they were just trying to protect the run that they had, and hope somebody else would make a play.
Right.
Feels like it's hard to play to win if you're the favorite. If you're the favorite, like it's almost like hard to say I'm playing not to lose, like because people are expecting you to win. You should win. Right. So playing to win as the favorite is a real challenge.
Yeah, that's super true. Well, did you have another question, Mikey? Because I have a proposal for our last couple minutes.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to meet with MJ now for a minute, and maybe now's our moment to get her on the pod for a question or two before we dip.
We'd love to if she's willing to come on camera.
Let me go open the door. All right, we got a special guest on the pod.
MJ,
Yo,
Hey guys.
what's up?
you look great.
Thanks. Just came from the gym.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
What are we talking about?
Well, we were talking about World Games.
Just
What's it
Grant.
like? Just praising
Just-
Grant. You know how it is. Yeah. What was it like watching?
Megamind.
What was it like watching World Games this time around?
Well, I think I was texting you. I was like getting
Mhm.
up at 1:30 in the morning
Mhm.
and watching them live because they're more fun that way. The last game was a killer. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
scary. Universe
Yeah.
Point was scary.
Were you feeling stress for him?
Yeah, these games are really, you guys all know, Ultimate is so fast and freaky to watch as a fan.
I actually asked the coaches in the dining hall at one point, like, I think I started with Miranda's, like, do you find it more stressful to coach than you did to play? And Miranda was like, classic Miranda, like, I don't get stressed.
She's the perfect role.
I asked Nancy too, and Nancy was like, yeah, I don't get nervous either. And then and Natty was sitting there, and I was like, well, okay, what about you? And he's like, I just don't care. he's like notorious, like famously even when
Yeah.
you're tight or his team's down.
This was the only time I'll say that. Go finish your thought.
Well, I was just going to say that coaching or spectating is way more nerve wracking to me than playing. So I'm with MJ on it.
Yeah, because I'm watching all of the track workouts and all of the conversation. I listen to a lot of Frisbee thinking.
Yeah.
I insulate you from a lot of it. But yeah, you're right.
For me, I'm just in the back part of his mind, knowing how much it matters. And what I have to deal with if he doesn't come home with a gold, to be kind of
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. I remember when we were first talking about having you on the pod, you sent a text about something about, like, being in a relationship with a Frisbee obsessed individual. What kind of advice do you have, and what are the hardships of being intimate with someone who's so Frisbee obsessed?
wonderful question, as I am a couples therapist and have a lot to say on this topic. It's a full podcast, guys. We do need to do it.
So this is the teaser that we'll release.
Yeah, give the teaser
prior to that episode.
We've been trying to get you on for like more than a year now.
Schedule's
Let's make it happen
right now.
Yeah. Okay, first, Grant didn't admit he liked Frisbee for the first 5 years of our relationship.
Okay, like 5 months, and this is 2015.
No,
Grant,
I didn't
classic.
even know.
It's classic
Grant,
elite Frisbee player, though. That's classic elite Frisbee player. I don't care. It's not.
Also, let's just allow people to speak, Grant. So if
Thank you.
if you could not
Yeah, so once he admitted, hey, this actually really matters to me, and because I don't know, you were kind of fronting like it was a thing that you kind of liked, but you didn't want to come off obsessed or something. I don't know.
Maybe so, yeah.
That's for you to answer. But once he got square with it and was like, this is going to be a huge part of our marriage, it helped a lot because then I could provide space for it. But for the first while, I was like, why are you gone every single weekend? Yeah. And there's a lot, I think, the difference between being with someone who doesn't play Frisbee versus someone who understands the culture.
Like two people, yeah.
That's like a whole different labyrinth to navigate.
I feel like there's like a funny Jake from State Farm commercial bit that could be done there for leaving every weekend.
This is the most interesting topic to me, though. I do wish MJ, you have to come back on now because we want to ask all the relationship questions.
Yeah, I think a lot of relationships could benefit from some of the things that I think Shayna needs to be on too, Jack Williams' girlfriend, because we've gone through a lot of the trench work together.
Yeah,
so we'll get
that would be good. Well, I'll get Devin on, my wife too, and it could just be you three, and we'll be in the audience.
Yeah. We'll take some questions.
Yeah.
Like there's the
you
faces
guys can just
are up.
shit on us the whole time. Like just absolutely tear us apart. It'll be great.
Perfect.
Yeah. Sweet.
Well, everyone look forward to that episode.
All right, I'm gonna go. Nice to see you all.
See ya.
Bye, MJ. Thanks for bringing her on, Grant. Well, actually, that I was a little at a loss for words at the end because I felt like anything I would ask would just make me want to have a 3-hour conversation with her about relationships.
Yeah, we could have gone for a long time.
Where
are you going? Where are you going every weekend? Frisbee. What's Frisbee wearing? Khakis.
That's good, kid.
There's something there, but it's
No,
not
that's
quite.
good. Yeah.
There's something there. We'll make that commercial.
How should we go? Go ahead, Grant.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll find a way to connect this back to what we've been talking about before. But I remember it actually feeling eventually really helpful in like the first year of MJ and I living together in the Bay. I'm like playing on Revolver for my first time and feeling like really stoked to be like into like the elite men's club scene in a way that I hadn't really been before. And having MJ kind of like force my hand and say, and so that I had to say like, look, this really is something I care a lot about and I'm going to be spending a lot of time doing, has I think really, helped me embrace the sport in a more like conscious way. Because before I was kind of just like, I am, my actions show that I'm caring about it, but I'm like not maybe admitting it fully or something. And I think maybe especially now that like I said before, I'm like on the back third of my career. It's fun to be able to feel
it with someone,
grateful for it and enjoy it because like I'm very aware of it not being a thing, especially like the elite side of things not being a thing for too much longer.
I feel like it's a common insecurity that Frisbee players have where I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, but it's like you're embarrassed to be proud of what you do because it's not mainstream.
Yeah, I think it can be like anything too, because when you think about anything, like caring about something is weird. Like if you like name literally anything, you could be like, well, why does that matter? It's like, I don't know. Like it doesn't matter.
Unless it brings you money, then it's like you don't want to tell people because that's the only way to quantify it in our society. It's like, well, wait, you're paying to play this? You're not making money doing this? You're like, that's dumb.
Yeah, you can be a nerd about anything, though. That's why I love nerds, because they're super passionate about whatever it is that they like.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what would be a good way to wrap up our episode with Grant?
We don't need to put too much pressure on it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a tough one there, Mike.
We'll see you in a week, Grant.
Yeah, see you pro champs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The sensical central sought after location of Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks USAU. Yeah, see you in a few days. Sweet. Always a pleasure.